Action.
Hey y'all. Well, it's been a week since we talked to y'all last. And so we were so stoked to get to share with y'all what God has done in our life. And thank y'all so much for your awesome questions. We felt so bad that we couldn't answer all of them last week, but we did pick a couple that were kind of like a bunch of commonly asked ones, just to share with you. So we'll get started. We'll have Ryan start.
Okay, so hello everybody. First question, what does love feel like? It's a good question. I think a lot of people wonder that and think about it. First of all, I would have to say that it's really not a feeling. It's really something that you have to fight for. It's something that you have to want deep within your heart. It's something that's natural for everybody. We all want to love and we all want to be loved, of course. But it's not just a feeling. It is a feeling, that is part of it. That has a lot to do with it actually, but it's more than that. So it's something that you definitely need to fight for. There's times in Chelsea and I's relationship where I love her and I feel like I love her, obviously, and we have a lot of feelings towards each other. That's normal, of course, but there's other times where it's not too easy to love, you know? And so that's where you really need to apply your will and you need to fight for it. Say, I love this person. I've had deep, intimate moments with this person. I want to care for this person with my whole life. I want to give her everything that I have. And I know that's going to be hard and it's going to take sacrifice. But that's the exact type of love that we need to get to, is the love that Christ had for the church. How did Christ love the church? We see it in the crucifix, right? He gave everything. So love always implies this total self-giving, this giving of ourself that comes from our will, not just from a feeling.
Right, and I mean, feelings are totally like the weather. And I know here in Texas, I mean, I wake up one morning and I'm wearing my like Ugg boots and parka, and then by lunchtime it's time to put on the swimsuit and go to the pool, you know? So if our feelings are just like that. They come and they go. And so, like Ryan said, sometimes we have these super intense feelings, you know, and we just are so mushy-gushy, love each other so much, and then sometimes it's like, oh wow, I'm really frustrated with you right now, but we still love. You know, you still love in that moment. So, so yeah, I like what you said about that.
Cool. Another one. What has kept your relationship so strong? There, I think, and we told you kind of our story and how we met each other. And a lot of that was centered around God. I mean, my proposal to her was right in the heart of the chapel there, in front of the Eucharist. So definitely that has been the number one thing that has kept our relationship so strong, is a strong prayer life. We both established our prayer lives before we met each other. We learned the art of prayer. We fell in love with Jesus Christ. And so resting on Jesus Christ and praying to Jesus Christ together clearly has been the number one thing that has kept our relationship so strong.
Right, and loving with Jesus' love, you know, like I have to receive Jesus' love first so that I can love Ryan with Jesus' love. Because if it were all up to me, I mean, sometimes I don't feel like loving, you know, sometimes I'm tired, sometimes I'm, you know, this or that. So really it's just drawing all of our love from Christ and letting him work through our actions and our choices and our words.
Another question. How do you know that you'll love someone truthfully? That's a good question. You don't, I guess. You don't know if you're going to love someone. You don't know, and that's the crazy thing about marriage, is that it's for life. And you know, dating, in the dating process, you get to know another person and you're learning how to love, right? You're learning about the other person, and that's going to lead, God willing, to marriage, if it be the case. Or if it be, you know, God's will, that dating relationship will lead into marriage. But marriage is the end goal. So, and marriage is for life. It's permanent. So that also is something very, very challenging and scary at the same time. That you're gonna, you know. So how do you know? You don't know if you can be faithful. You don't know what life is gonna be like in 5 years from now, in 10 years from now. But you do know what today is like, and you love today. And then you love the next day, and you take it one step at a time, and you pray for God's grace, the grace of the sacrament to help you through all the difficult moments, and you fight for love, as we were talking about before.
Yeah, and it's so right. Like we have no idea what could happen in 5 years, in 10 years, whatever. But we both are choosing to make a commitment, a covenant with each other, to love each other no matter what. And I think knowing that knowing that your love is true is when you can sacrifice for the other person. You know, like being willing in your heart to do whatever it takes and to do anything, regardless of how you feel or regardless of yourself for the other. Like that's when it's true. Yeah.
Are you liking these? I hope you're liking these. We've never really filmed ourselves before. This is exciting.
How do we look?
How do we look? Here.
All right,
What's that
so
one?
I have two more. And so this one is, how long did it take to fully love yourself? Because I know we talked a lot about that while we were there last week, of having to know yourself, to be able to give yourself, you know? And if you don't love yourself, like, how are you supposed to give yourself and then receive the other person's love if you don't feel like you're worthy of love, you know? So that's a process, and it's a process of deep healing, and that all happens in front of the Eucharist and in the sacraments. And so I know, I don't know if guys experience this, but I know girls do a lot of just like feeling unworthy or feeling like unworthy of being loved for various reasons. And that's something that we have to overcome and realize that it is a lie straight from the devil's mouth of that you're unworthy. And so I want to speak truth to that, truth to the fact and the realization that you are worthy. You're worthy of God's love, and God loves you unconditionally. And you just have to receive it. You have to open your heart to receive all of His healing and His mercy and His deep satisfaction with you and who you are, because He made you. You know, He made you exactly the way you are, and He loves it. And so when you come to that and you just rest in God's love, that helps you love yourself. Because really, like, if you think about it, if you don't love yourself, that's like telling God, well, you know what, God, I don't really think you did a good job with me, so maybe try again, you know? And the thing is that God is perfect, and He makes all of us in His image exactly how He wants. And so when we can love ourselves, we grow closer to God, and we can have so much more happiness.
Yeah, so, that's a great answer. And I think many times we can do stuff that we're not, proud about. We do things that we're ashamed of, and so that kind of marks us, I think. But I think at the same time we need to remember that anything that disunites us is not coming from the Holy Spirit. It's coming from another spirit. That's not good. So we must always have a lot of strength and trust in the sacrament of penance, in the sacrament of reconciliation, and go to the priest and ask for forgiveness, and go to Christ and ask for forgiveness, and there find a lot of healing in order to love ourselves again. But also, it's not a feeling, right? It's more than a feeling. It's a fight, and it's a battle, to love ourselves. But it's a battle worth fighting, because if you can't love yourself, how are you going to be able to love another person?
Right, yeah. And speaking on that again, reaching this point of loving yourself is something that takes a lifetime, because there's always going to be parts of us, parts of our intellect, our personality, parts of our bodies and our bodies are always changing as we get older, and so there's always going to be parts of us that we're like, I don't really like that, and so for our whole life, we have to seek healing from the Lord, and know that He made us in His image. So yeah. All right, last one. So this one says, how can you get over a broken heart or a breakup at a young age? That's a great question, because I know breakups suck, and they're hard.
Or rejection.
Yeah, rejection. Sucks. Oh man, it's the worst.
Get that.
So yeah, that's super hard. But I don't know if you remember in part of my testimony of having a relationship and getting broken up with, and the advice that I received from a priest friend of mine. And that advice, I swear, has just done wonders for my life. I mean, it's something that I still try to live by. But he told me, Chelsea, you have to be generous, and you have to give of yourself and try to outdo God in generosity. And that's where you're going to find your peace and your happiness. Because the thing is that God is so generous, you can't possibly outdo Him, right? So if you try, I mean, oh my goodness, He just delights in your try, and He just showers upon you graces and buckets of love. So yeah, I tried to be as generous as I possibly could, and I just said yes to God in every single way that I could even think of, and ended up with this hunk of a man. So there.
Hey. What was the question? I forgot.
Oh, how long? How do you get over a breakup?
Oh, how do you get over a breakup? Yeah, and that, again, going back to the idea of marriage, right? Dating is not an end in itself. It's always leading to marriage. Okay, so when we're thinking of marriage, know that marriage isn't the end all be all, right? The end all be all is our heavenly marriage, right? And that's our getting to heaven, right? And longing for heaven. And so that is what we should really be looking for and aspiring to, obviously. And so to know that if we have a solid relationship with Christ, He's going to get us through those moments that are hard, especially breakups and certain things like that. But of course, breakups, there's really no magic antidote to that.
Time heals. Time heals.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, well, hey, great seeing y'all and meeting you. Thanks for letting us come and talk to y'all. I hope you enjoyed it. We've already gone 11 minutes here.
Yeah,
but,
so we should hang up the phone.
Goodbye, everybody.
Yeah,
Have a
you're
good
in
one.
our prayers. Bye.
Bye now.